Representative Washut,
Here.
Representative Angelos. Here. Representative Bear.
Here.
Senator Hicks.
Here.
Senator Rothfuss.
Here.
Senator Smith.
Here.
President, so this is the Joint Conference Committee number 2 on Senate File 169 to deal with the amendments that were put on the bill and try to get these things in a conforming situation and come to an agreement as between the two positions. And so for members of the committee, I'll just put out there a proposal that we can discuss. I did bring in today, for if there is any specific questions, we have agency directors here from both state parks and cultural resources that would be affected by the House amendment. And then also the director from the Department of Corrections, if there's any specific questions, how this may or may not impact their agencies. They're available here. But with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just walk through what the proposed House is to the, let me back up. The proposed Senate proposal on the House amendments. And so on third reading amendment number 3 that the House put on, we would adopt that because that was a technical correction, I believe, that was brought to LSO when you guys were working the bill. So that first part is more of a technical correction. And then when we get down, we would delete your third reading amendment number 1, delete your third reading number 2.01, and your third reading amendment number 2.02, and then further amend those. And so the amendment comes back in. I've got a proposal here. Would we create another subsection 6, which is, this is consistent with what you guys had done on the House side, but what we've done is we've eliminated some of the language that created some conflicts, we thought, within our rules. And then what we've effectively done is we've created, I'm going to call it a swap. And so in your amendment, you had released $10 million out of the State Shooting Complex Task Force account. That was a little bit problematic for the Senate. We didn't think that that was particularly germane to the bill. And so what we've proposed to do is actually take some of the remainder of the SIPA account and just transfer it for that purpose, which is consistent with the title and the purpose of the bill. We think that's probably a better fit. And then when it comes to the amendment dealing with the addition of the $18 million out of the Penitentiary Capital Construction Account, you guys added $18 million to that. If I understand the derivation of that, was a House Appropriations Committee had put that in the capital construction bill. That was been a House position. Unfortunately, we weren't able to take that up in the Senate and debate that, so we really don't have a Senate position on that was gone through the entire Senate. But given the factor that typically on these conference committees, we try to work between those positions, we were 0. You guys had $18 million that you'd put in there. We would suggest that we just split the differences between those two positions, and that would provide $9 million and to the Department of Corrections out of the Penitentiary Capital Construction for the security systems that you guys had identified in your amendment. And so, Mr. Chairman, that's the proposal. Any discussion? And any members of the committee would like to add to that, Senator Rothfuss or Smith?
Mr. Chairman, very briefly. Yeah, I would just note that we used parallel language also in the section 7, which is regarding the penitentiary, to what we used in section 6, so that these are transfers of funds from existing accounts. That's consistent with the title. So it's not creating new programs. It's not doing anything outside of the title. It's just consistent with the title, transferring funds from the SIPA account, which is being eliminated, and from a sub-account within the SIPA to, in the first instance of section 6, $10 million to the, we're using state parks and cultural resources for the siting, construction, operation, and maintenance of the Wyoming State Shooting Complex. and then $9 million from the Wyoming State Penitentiary Capital Construction account within the SIPA to the Department of Corrections for purpose of integrating the department's security system. So, Mr. Chairman, that in my mind, and I think in consultation with other leadership and other members of the Senate, obviates any concerns with the constitutionality. It's well within the title and accomplishes the objectives.
Mr. Chairman, I believe the House is agreeable to this amendment. I would like to hear from the Director of Corrections about the 50% compromise on the 18 million, the 9 million, if it's agreeable to the conference committee to take a little testimony.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, committee members, I'm Dan Shannon with the Department of Corrections. The process of replacing our security electronics at the penitentiary began in 2017 under Director Lampert. In 20, when I became the director, I took this request before the State Building Commission. I went through a phase 1, a phase 2, but things have changed considerably in our work environment since 2017 when it began. We now have individuals flying drones over our institutions almost weekly. Narcotics are saturating our mail. Just last month, we rushed an officer to the hospital from exposure. So certainly locks, man-down systems are important for our safety. But security electronics is much different. We have the cloud now. We don't just need tilt zoom cameras. We don't utilize DVRs anymore. These are body cameras. These are scanners, and it's also a component system for our controls. So if a control officer hits a button, it automatically goes to the door. It's voice activated. You can see, and we need that programming. As I testified before the appropriations, our systems are proprietary or not proprietary, so we can't get the codes. We're working with a number of different companies. Proposals to fix that alone, just for that programming, was $1 million. And we need to utilize to train our own staff and be able to address this as we need our changes. So on behalf of those that risk their lives every day, this is our #1 priority for safety. I'll stand for questions.
Go ahead.
Director, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director, just so I'm clear, these issues have been in existence for a while. And if we allocate this 9 million today, can you achieve a reasonable level of security for your personnel and come back in the budget in 2026 for the rest of it? Does that work, or is it super pressing that we get the 18 million approved today?
Mr. Chairman, committee members, working through the process, as I spoke before the House appropriations, the estimated cost is 18 million. And at that time, I reported I would accept almost any funding. We have to get it started. Right now, we're not moving forward, and that has to be. So to answer your question, I feel comfortable that that'll head us in the right direction, and can report out where we're at this upcoming session.
That's great. Mr. Chairman, I do have one follow-up on that. So it sounds like these components there are enough different things that you're working on that it isn't just a simple RFP where the total is going to be 18 million. You have a lot of things going on, and so you don't need the 18 million all at once. You'll work through projects up to $9 million, and we're not holding back I'll say the RFP process or the acquisition process as a result of having it. That's what I'm hearing. Is that accurate?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Rufus, that is accurate. Okay. Because by procurement rules, this is such specialized work, we can't put out one RFP. It'll take multiple. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. So I'd like to call the Director of State Parks up if he would, just want to make sure that it is agencies comfortable with the language and feels like you can implement the intent of what we have in here with the funds available.
Has he seen this language?
Mr. Chairman, Dave Glenn, Director of State Parks and Cultural Resources. Yes, if that $10 million is freed up, we are ready to start creating an MOU with Park County and that community. We will not free up those dollars till that MOU is completed and move forward. And I
All
would
right.
just stand for any questions.
Any questions for Director Glenn? All right, thank you very much. Committee, what's your pleasure? You get, Mr. Chairman, we've provided an offer on the table. Is it any discussion?
I would move the offer.
Representative Washut,
Aye.
Representative Angelos. Representative Bear. Senator Hicks,
Aye.
Senator Rothfuss.
Aye.
Senator Smith. 6 ayes.